This is a short video for Chapter 13, Media Theory and Research, on some ways to think about the media. Your textbook sets up several dichotomies, things that oppose each other, in terms of thinking about how we view the impact of the media. The first one it discusses is micro versus macro effects, and this is essentially saying personal impact on you when you watch the media versus the cultural impact. A lot of people dismiss the impact of the media because they're only looking at the personal impact. So you might watch that old show Beavis and Butthead. You might watch the episode where one of them lights his baby brother on fire on the couch, and you might say, well, I would never do that, therefore media doesn't really impact us. You'd be losing a lot, though, if you only look at it that way. Micro versus macro is about cause, and yes, watching a show or listening to a certain type of music might not cause you to do something. But if you pull back that lens and look at the cultural impact, then we can start to glean something about the impact of the media. Because when we watch all these reality TV shows that show people getting really drunk and acting in ways that wouldn't necessarily, the rest of us wouldn't necessarily do, we start to think about, for example, people in their 20s as having certain types of behavior. Or we watch local news and they focus on certain things, so we start thinking that we live in a very dangerous place, even though times aren't more dangerous than they have been in the past. So again, if you only think about the specific impact that a show or something has on you and your actions, you might say, well, it doesn't. I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to play my music and then go out and shoot people or whatever, or play a video game and then go out and shoot people. So again, pull back the lens, look at the macro effects, and then you'll probably get something from it. This is the same thing. It's a similar dichotomy, these two opposing things that you see in administrative versus critical perspective. So administrative theory, or people who kind of fall under this, they look for observable influences that the media have on us. So they ask about immediate and observable influences. Again, you might not have any, but if we pull back that lens, critical perspective, critical research looks at the larger questions. What is the media? How is it sort of constructing our society? What is it telling us about our society? How is it shaping us? And then I think you get stuff from that. And the third dichotomy is transmissional versus ritual. Basically, this is asking, does the media in transmissional, the questions that are asked, look at whether it affects our behavior. It's the media is seen, when we think about it through the transmissional perspective, it's seen as whether the senders of information, whether it's an ad or a show or music, that they're doing it for a purpose of control, and whether that control actually works. So with the example of an ad, if you're looking at an ad from a transmissional viewpoint, you're going to ask, well, did that ad cause people to buy more of this product? And that's a great question to ask. That's fine. But again, these are all micro, administrative, and transmissional are all about those direct impacts on individuals. The macro, critical perspective, and ritual draws back that lens and says, what's the cultural impact? So if we look at ads from a ritual perspective, we're going to see how ads, in addition to selling us products, help maintain how our society works over time. The Sky Vodka ad that's in your textbook, this time it changes with each edition, is this. So we might look at this and say, from a transmissional perspective, or even from the other two, we might look and say, does this ad cause us to buy more vodka? But we'd be losing a lot if we just focus on that. Because we can look at this and say, what does this tell us about standards of beauty? What does this tell us about alcohol usage? What does this tell us about youth or power or other things like that? And we can glean a lot from this ad, from that. So those three categories, each setting up opposing things. On the one side looks at individual impact, on the other side draws back that lens and looks at the cultural impact of the media. And if we reside over there, we're going to see a lot more things that we need to think about when we're talking about media. Hope that helps.